Good evening, everybody. It is 6 o'clock Eastern time, and we are going to get started. So I know I kind of threw this webinar together last minute, but there's reason for that, which I'm going to get to here. But for those of you who are just joining us, I just want to let you know a few things. Number one, any questions that you have throughout the webinar tonight, please don't hesitate to put them in the question and answer section of the Zoom chat. I will have a little bit of time at the end of the webinar, and we'll go through, answer any questions that have been asked through the question and answer section. Running the webinar myself tonight, so it's a little tough for me to monitor everything throughout, but I will make sure we have some time at the end so I can answer as many questions as possible. Also, the webinar tonight is being recorded, so I will make sure that the link to the recording, if you want to rewatch it or share it with others, please feel free. I will send out the YouTube link tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon, to everybody who registered for the webinar tonight. They will get access to the recording as well. So, let's start by me letting you guys know why I threw this last minute webinar together. And, one of the big reason why I did it is because over the past week, I've spoken with a number of dentists and have heard the same thing over and over. Actually, 50% of the dentists that I talked to last week told me the same thing when I asked them what their total outstanding claims were. 50% of them told me they had no idea. They didn't know what their outstanding claims were. They didn't know how many claims, what the total dollar amount was. They didn't know any of that. And when I asked them, okay, let's pull a report. Which software do you have? Let's go here, go to reports, go to insurance, outstanding claims. They had no idea how to even access that report. So, for me, that is incredibly scary when a business owner doesn't know their numbers. But for a dentist, for an office manager not to know how many outstanding claims they have, what the status is, what's going on with them is super, super scary for me. And, I appreciate it in one sense because it creates some business for my team here. My remote billing team creates some business for them, but it's also very scary because oftentimes, we just brought a new client on last week for remote insurance billing. And as we're going through their outstanding claims report, we're finding claims that are 2, 3, 4 years old that never got followed up on, that now are way past the timely filing line. So, that's something we're going to talk about tonight, but I just want everybody to kind of understand how important it truly is to manage this process, because you can do all the work every day. You're doing the dentistry and fixing teeth and scheduling patients and following up on labs, and you're doing all of that. But if you're not following up on the insurance claims, you're not getting paid for the work you do, and that is a huge problem. So with that said, we're going to get started. I want to talk tonight about the best practices, what the system is for following up on outstanding insurance claims. And, again, it is a super, super important thing for us all to do. Make sure we're following up on them. So let's get started. So the first thing, the most important thing, is reading your report. Look at your outstanding claims report every single week. I don't want to overkill it. I'm not going to look at it daily because nothing's really going to change from day to day. But I look at mine for, my offices and for all of our clients that we have all over the country. I look at those outstanding claims reports every week. You have to know how to pull your report. As I was saying before, people don't know even how to pull this report, so many dentists. And it is so important for dentists to understand how to pull that report, how to get that information. Look at that report every week. Make sure you're following up on the status of those claims. We're going to talk about that, but you want to be watching for trends with specific insurance companies. Cigna last year went through a time where they were running 60 to 90 days to process claims. Even simple claims were taking 60 to 90 days to get paid. You want to be watching for those trends so you know what's going on. It's affecting your cash flow, and the cash flow of your business. Cash flow is king. So we have to be paying attention to that, watching for those trends, seeing, okay, is, Cigna running low on claims? Is Delta denying that we're having to appeal lots of things for this? Is United Concordia denying SRPs that we have to constantly appeal and chase after? Not only is it about the cash flow, but it's also about making those decisions, because right now everybody is kind of in the process of making decisions on who we're going to go in and out of network with, and who we're continuing network participation with, who we're not. And this is one of those things that should go into that decision-making process. It's not necessarily who has the lowest fee schedule, because if I have one insurance company that's paying me $50 less for a crown, but I don't have an issue where 80% of the crowns I submit are being denied and I have to appeal, and it takes 3 to 6 months to get paid for them through the process, I'll take that $50 pay cut, knowing that 80% of my claims are going to be paid without any issue. It makes sense for me to make that decision. So it should be part of your decision-making process, and you can't get that data without looking at your report, understanding what it means, and watching for the trends. And like I said, this is something you should be looking at this report weekly. I look at them every week. Every Friday morning, we have a staff meeting and we talk about every single client's outstanding claims. What's going on? What's the status? Did they go up? Did they go down? Are they level? Are they plateaued? Why aren't we collecting? What are we doing? So, you want to really, really, really be reviewing this on a regular basis. The next thing, as you're reviewing this report, always use a fresh report. Okay, you pull a new report. We do it every week. So you're working with the latest information. Now, one of the other things I will say that I hear a lot when I'm talking to dentists and office managers who, may be interested in hiring us to do their insurance billing for them. One of the things I hear all the time is, well, I have a stack of payments of EOBs sitting on my desk waiting for me to enter. It's just been super busy. We're down a front desk person. We need help. I'm doing it myself. People didn't come back from the COVID shutdown 3 years ago. So many things, but, enter those payments before you pull that new report. Make the time. If you're a dentist and your office manager says, listen, I need to come in for a couple hours on a Friday or a Saturday, a day we're normally closed, no patients, so I can get these payments entered, let them come in and do it, because if you don't, it's just slowing down the whole process, because it doesn't make sense to call on that outstanding claim report if you have 200, 300, 400, 600 pages worth of EOBs sitting on a desk waiting to be entered. All those claims are going to get closed as those payments are entered. That's one thing that drives me crazy when we bring on a new client is I put my team on it and we call 400 or 500 claims in the first week. And we hear, 300 out of the 400 times we hear it was paid. Here's the check number. Here's the this. It's been paid. It's been processed. I know that means those EOBs are just sitting somewhere waiting to be entered because somebody got behind. And then, the next thing when we talk about using a fresh report, one thing I absolutely hate is walking into an office, walking up to the front desk and saying, hey, let me see your outstanding claims report. And they hand me a paper clip or a binder clipped stack of papers. And each claim has tiny little handwritten notes right next to every single one of them. I hate handwriting anything on paper. I'm a big fan of doing everything digitally, but I want those notes entered into the system. So we're prepared for anything. If somebody is out sick, if somebody, leaves, gets fired or quits, or, just for some reason is off or is on vacation, those notes are in the system. So I can go in and look at them claim by claim or patient by patient, and I can see what the status is of every claim. Has it been called on? Has it been worked? Has it been appealed? Has it been resubmitted? What is the status for every single one? We have this practice management system that we're paying for, but we're not using it to its full potential. Enter it in the claim notes, enter it in the follow-up, enter it in the account, the chart note, not the chart note, the account notes. Somewhere in your system, there's a place to put notes about those claims. Enter it in there. That is so important. But again, you always want to be working with a new report. I see offices that say, well, we pull it once a month and then we call on them. But what happens when you get to the end of the month and half of the calls you're making, you're being told, oh, that was paid. And then you look at the ledger and you see, oh yeah, it's closed. The payment was entered last week. I guess, just working off of old data. So always, always, always work with the freshest data that you possibly can. The next thing, remember I said I love electronic. I love digital follow-up. It's shareable, it's duplicatable, it's enforceable. Use a call log. Okay, you can only control one thing. You can only control the number of calls you make. You can't control what the insurance company tells you. You can't control, a delay in payment or Cigna running 60 days. You can't control what their dental reviewer is saying needs to be followed up on or wasn't medically necessary or anything like that. You can't control any of that. All you can control is the number of calls you make. So make sure you're making your calls. Use a log. Use follow-up dates on your log to remind you when to follow up on them. The note that you enter into your call log, the status note, copy and paste it right into your practice management software. You don't have to retype everything. Make things easy. Have two monitors. Go back and forth between the two. And you see here on the slide, it says side note HIPAA. And, here is one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of cloud-based software. Because most of the cloud-based software salespeople will tell you if you go cloud-based, everything is HIPAA compliant. You don't need a server. You don't need a domain controller. You don't need passwords on the computers because everything is in your practice management software, which is on the cloud behind a password. Unfortunately, we don't live in a world where any practice management software can do everything. So I do, and I'm going to show you guys in a minute, our sample call logs that my entire team uses to track every outstanding claim call. those files, we do it in Excel. You can do it, if you have a professional version of Google Docs or Google Sheets, I think it's called, you can do it there. But, any kind of spreadsheet software works very well. I'm also going to make sure that our call log, our sample call log, is uploaded to our reference page tomorrow morning. So you'll be able to go to my website, practicemechanic.com, click on resources in the upper right-hand corner, and download in Excel the sample call log. But, HIPAA, getting back to that, patient data is now saved outside of patient names. Status information is saved outside of your practice management software. So you do have to be sure that you're following HIPAA requirements to protect that data, because just a patient's first and last name together is personally identifiable information, and it's protected information that has to be protected under HIPAA rules. So, just make sure, and here's the thing, this is why I said no cloud-based practice management software does this. So you still need a domain controller, even if you have it. There's nowhere to store all this data in a simple, easy place in any of the softwares. So you just have to make sure you have that information in the right spot. Now I am going to pop up the call log here. So this is our sample call log. I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit. So hopefully everybody can see it. We'll go up to 150. So, again, we use Excel for ours because it's shareable, and, we have the whole Microsoft suite and all that fun stuff. But so it's a very simple thing, but it's super effective. The date that I made the call, the patient's name that I'm calling about, what the status is of the claim. And this we do as a drop-down menu. So I can just hit this little arrow right here and pick resend claim, follow up, insurance paid, still in process, being reprocessed, claim denied, file appeal, rejected claim, whatever it may be. Those are the available statuses. And then this is the most important part of this, and this is my follow-up date. So this is when I'm gonna follow up. So, when I come in the morning, when my team comes in the morning, they get logged into their computers, and one of the first things they do is they filter this information by follow-up date. So they can then see what is on their follow-up list for today. What do I need to do today? So, this one, follow-up 322 for Mickey Mouse resend claim. We called on 315. The rep said, no claim on file. Rep Angel, reference number 3152023. We know now we're going to follow up in a week. We resent the claim. We're going to follow up on 322. So on 322, we follow up on all of our 322 follow-ups, and then we start adding more. Now we're going to add another one here, 322, calling for John Smith and whatever happened, what happened here, who knows, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm putting in insurance is processing, it's 322. I am going to follow up on this for 4/10/2023. That's my follow-up date. So then I can just filter. I can track all of these. I can see exactly what is happening with each one and, put in as detailed notes as you need. Insurance paid, claim, bulk check, blah, blah, blah. This was the amount of the bulk check mailed on 3/12. Well, guess what? It should be coming in any day if it hasn't come in yet. No active coverage, will reprocess. claim wasn't on file or missing an attachment that all of a sudden we called on this outstanding claim and they say, well, we never got the attachments. Provide them with the NEA number, with your attachment ID number, whichever software you use, provide them with that. And I guarantee you 80% of the time, they will magically find that missing attachment. If you just take a minute, call them, get a rep on the phone. Oh, well, this is denied. We never got the bite wing. We never got the PA. We never got the perio chart. Yes, you did. Here's the attachment ID number. Can you find it now? Oh, yes. Now I see it. We'll reprocess right away. Okay, great. Things that need to be appeals that need to be filed. Why was it done? Filing the appeal. I'll put in here if I'm requesting a peer-to-peer review, but I just want to be able to look at this and know exactly what's going on with each patient. I want to know what is happening for every single outstanding claim. And then I can just take these comments, I can take these notes over here, I can Control-C them, put them right into my practice management software so they're there as well, so that everybody, even the people who don't have access to my call log, everybody can see what the status is. I'm using my call log for follow-up dates and for tracking. Everybody else in the office, if you're the insurance coordinator and your office manager wants to know what's going on, or the dentist wants to know, the owner, whoever it may be, it's all going to be in the practice management software. And there's just very limited people who have access to my call log. So, that is super, super important. It keeps you organized. It keeps you on track, and it gives you your follow-up dates so that there's never a reason for you to miss something, because every day it becomes part of your habit. You come in the morning, you send your claims, you open your outstanding call log. Okay, bam, what do I have to do today? I filter these by date, and it tells me, here I go. So very simple, very easy. It is the best way to make sure you're staying on task and following up with your outstanding claims is by using that log. So, next thing we want to talk about here is following up. Follow up per your schedule. Check web portals, call, email, whatever it is that you need to do. Excuse me. Whatever it is you need to do to continue the process, to keep things moving forward. Like I said before, we can't control what the insurance company does. We can only control our reaction and our process to it. Know your reps. That's another huge thing that so many people, I think, miss out on or forget about or don't know is, believe it or not, with every insurance company, and it's most now, they actually have laid off a number of them, but you have a local rep. You have a local Delta rep. You have a local United Concordia rep. You have a local MetLife, Aetna, Cigna. You have a local rep. Excuse me. Know your reps. A lot of times, if I'm working on outstanding claims and I'm not getting a response, I had one of my team members come to me today and say, I just hung up on MetLife because they're denying an SRP or a perio maintenance because there's no history of SRP, but they just paid on the SRP in December. Same plan, same policy, same insurance company, just paid the SRP in December. Now, here it is in March, and they're saying, oh, that perio maintenance from the beginning of March, we're not paying that. We have no history of SRP. I called, they see it. Yep. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. Give me a supervisor. The supervisor didn't know how to handle it. So, please, please, please make sure you know your local rep. Go to your state dental association just one time, even if you're just walking through, if you don't want to take the CE, go just to walk through the exhibit hall. You may find some cool stuff that you didn't know you needed. I know everywhere I go, I find cool stuff I didn't know I needed, but I do. But it also gives you a chance to meet your local people. All of the insurance companies have booths at those bigger meetings. So you can get a rep's card, you can have their email address. So you can very, very easily shoot them an email, reach out to them directly. I'm having an issue with this. I need help. They want to help you. So, make sure you know who they are. And this is something I hope everybody remembers. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. Please, 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 I will call on these claims every single week for as long as it takes. We keep calling and calling and calling and calling until it hits the point where it's cheaper for the insurance company to just pay the claim than it is to pay somebody to sit on the phone with me for a half an hour every single week for months and months and months, because that is what I will do. I will be the squeaky wheel because I want to get that paid. Now, along these lines, going back to knowing your reps, somebody asked in the question and answer section of the webinar, is there a local rep even if you're not in network? You have a local rep, but here is what I will tell you. They will not be in a hurry to respond to you, to reply to you, to answer you, because they really do cater to, their job is to take care of, spend time with their in-network participating dentists. So you will have a local rep that covers your geographic area, but if you're not in network, they are in no rush, they are in no hurry to help you, to answer any questions, to really facilitate anything for you, because their job is to take care of the in-network providers. So you have one, but you don't really have one because they're not going to do anything for you. So next, whoops. There we go. Oh, I just clicked in the wrong spot. Sorry about that. Next thing we want to talk about. As I said before, make sure you are constantly following up on your claims, being the squeaky wheel. So, entering your payments. Okay, it sounds kind of counterproductive that entering your payments every day affects your outstanding claims, but it does. It matters significantly because we talk about spending good money after bad. And if you have a stack of payments waiting to be entered, you're paying somebody, whether it's your office manager, whether it's your insurance coordinator, whether it's your front desk person, whoever it may be, any admin, anyone. Maybe you have your assistant doing it on downtime or hygienist doing it on downtime. If you are calling and hearing, it was paid, it was paid, it was paid, bulk check here, bulk check there, single check there, here's the check number, it was paid, you cashed it even. You're wasting the money you're paying someone to make that call to find out it's already been paid. Enter your payments every day. We brought on a client about 3 months ago, and that client's office manager told me a few days before she went out on maternity leave that she had over 700 pages worth of EOBs waiting for her to enter them into her system. They had over $450,000 in outstanding insurance claims on their outstanding report, and hundreds and hundreds of pages of EOBs that they got the EOBs, they opened their mail, they took out the checks, they deposited their checks, and the EOBs sat in a pile waiting for her to have time to enter them. The dentist called, brought us on because, oh my gosh, my outstanding claims are ridiculous. We need help. We don't have time. We literally heard every phone call. It was paid, 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 it was paid. So, your information, when we go back to making sure you're looking at fresh data, making sure you're pulling a new report at least every week. The reason you want that is because entering those payments closes the claim in just about every single software. And if you've received the money, you want the claim closed. You absolutely, positively want those claims closed. So enter it, okay? If you're behind, your deposit report may not match. Your deposit report might not match because you're entering payments for checks you received 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months ago sometimes. So your deposit report can't be right. And I absolutely would not take the time to go in there and backdate every single payment to the day it was deposited, look at the deposit slip, when was that sent? I am not going to take the time to do that. Offices that are doing that, people that are doing that, that's why they're behind. They're spending too much time focusing on something insignificant. Your deposit report might not match anyway. If an insurance company takes a refund, they sent you the letter, oh, we overpaid by $52 for this patient 6 months ago. We want a refund. We're sending you a refund request, and you don't do it, and they suck it out of a check from another patient. Yes, they're allowed to do that. That's going to force your deposit report not to match that day. Because if they paid $115 for Jar Jar Binks today, but they sucked $40 out of that, now I have to enter the $115 payment on Jar Jar's ledger, but the deposit is only going to be for $75. So even though my deposits report is going to show $115 payment, the check's only for $75. So your deposit report is going to be off. Your collections reconciliation will be right because you're doing that $50 adjustment, debit adjustment on the other patient's account. So your collections reconciliation will be right, but your deposit report won't be, because you have to enter the full payment, that $115 for that first patient, for Jar Jar Binks, who, by the way, is the worst Star Wars character that exists. You have to enter the full 115, and then you do an adjustment, a debit adjustment for $50, whatever the amount of the overpayment of the refund suckage was on that other patient. So your collections reconciliation report matches, but your deposit report will not. And that's okay. My deposit report doesn't have to match every day. It's not going to, because I'm going to get those, 15-cent insurance interest payments for a past due claim. Those don't get entered into my practice management software. That's practice income. That's not patient income. So it doesn't get entered. It's not going to match. But as long as I balance everything at the end of the day, I'm okay with that. So we have another question here real quick. I've been working on a claim that hit 1 year on October 29th. I have faxed, mailed, and sent electronically more than 9 times. They finally sent an EOB back saying it was filed past the filing date. The same payer ID number was used for a different claim, and they paid on that one. I have called with the payer ID number before, but they keep saying they never got it. How should I go about trying to get that paid? If you've sent it electronically, your clearinghouse should be able to provide you with proof of timely filing. If they can't, get a new clearinghouse, because either that or a certified return receipt letter that you mailed the claim are the only ways to prove that it was actually sent. You know, you can have faxed it, you can have mailed it. If you mailed it not certified, return receipt, signature required, you can't prove it. If your clearinghouse doesn't offer you letters of confirmation of timely filing, proof that you submit it, then, you know, find a new clearinghouse, first of all, but then you have no proof. But if you have one of the two of those or both of the two of those, you can absolutely prove that it was submitted within time and fight it. We do everything electronically. You know, I use Vine Remote Light, used to be Renaissance Remote Light. Now it's Vine Trellis. I use that exclusively for all of our remote insurance billing clients, just because I know in 2 seconds, I can get that letter of timely filing from the clearinghouse, confirming that it absolutely positively was submitted in time. So you absolutely have to have that. Check with your clearinghouse. Not all of them offer it. If they don't, find a new one. So next thing, and this seems like it almost doesn't belong in the outstanding claims collection, but it really does. Make sure you're doing your insurance verifications ahead of time, checking status, because I see so many times that we call an insurance company to check on the status of a claim, and they say, well, that patient didn't have active coverage that day. The patient didn't have active coverage. The patient didn't have active coverage. And these aren't 2, 3, 4, 6 months later that were retroactively terminated. These are, you know, you saw a patient on March 3rd. The patient's coverage ended on January 1st. Nobody ever verified whether their coverage was active or not. They never checked, oh, this patient switched. They still have Cigna, but they went from a Cigna fully funded, full coverage plan to a different plan that now is preventative only. So no wonder that crown isn't being paid, you know, and probably what happened is you missed the EOB, or they never mailed the EOB that said, well, there is no crown coverage for this. It's a non-covered service. So, you know, doing that verification ahead of time, making sure the coverage is active, knowing what is and isn't covered, will absolutely help to decrease your outstanding claims. Because if I know something's not covered, I'm gonna submit the claim, because if I'm in network, I have to, but I'm gonna immediately close that claim because it's not a covered service. So I know it's not a covered service. I can submit it and immediately close it. That way it doesn't end up on my outstanding claims report 3 months from now. The patient, I'm gonna know in advance that the patient has to pay for that service in full, so I can collect copays, deductibles, non-covereds at the time of service. So, you know, that really helps me get my cash flow under control, because I'm collecting for those things ahead of time. And I know I don't have to chase that outstanding claim. I don't have to spend the time calling on it, chasing it. Can you transfer me to a supervisor? Can I get a different rep? Can I do this? Can I do that? One little trick I will tell you, when we talk about hold times and getting through to insurance companies, when you call the insurance company, you call the provider line, you're calling on an outstanding claim, and you get, you know, please press 1 for English, marque número 2 para español, press 2 or 8 or whatever the number is for Spanish. Those bilingual customer service reps are just that. They're bilingual. They speak Spanish and they speak English. So if I press 2 and I get to a bilingual rep, A, it's going to happen a little quicker because their call queue is usually shorter. But B, as soon as I say, oh, hello, they can immediately answer me in English. It's not like they only speak Spanish, but their call queue is way, way shorter. So, make sure you're doing that. The next thing that helps me maintain all of these outstanding claims reports is knowing the rules. Is a plan self-funded or fully funded? Is it non-covered or non-payable? So, let's talk about those two just for a minute, because I think we've covered them in the Facebook group to no end, and I will continue to do so until every single person in the world knows it. But self or fully funded plan, a self-funded plan does not mean it's an individual plan that the patient purchased directly from an agent and they are paying for it. A self-funded plan means that the employer is funding the claim payments for that insurance plan. Okay, so they're paying a lesser amount to the insurance company for administering the plan, because the insurance company at the end of the day isn't responsible for the amounts that are being paid on the claims. So when you submit a claim for a $100 pro fee, Delta allows 80. If it's a fully funded plan, Delta pays the $80. If it's a self-funded plan, the employer pays the $80. They will get a statement from Delta every month saying, here's all the claim payments that we processed for you. And with bigger companies like, Walmart and Boeing, they're all self-funded plans. They make that payment. They reimburse Delta for what Delta paid on those claims. Those self-funded plans are exempt from your state laws. So if your state has a non-covered services law, if your state has a, interest law that if the claim is paid more than 45 days after the initial submission of the claim, the insurance company has to pay you 1% interest annually on that money. Self-funded plans are exempt from those state laws. Your state has a law that says an insurance company has 12 months, 6 months, 18 months, 24 months to recover an overpayment. Self-funded plans are exempt from that time limit. So I was talking to somebody in the group a couple weeks ago who received a refund request from 2016. Refund request, we overpaid back in 2016. We want our $115 back. And they said, how can this be? It's from 2016. It is a self-funded plan. They are overseen by the federal government and they are exempt from your state laws. So that is important to know. Knowing if something is non-covered or non-payable. Again, we've talked about this in the group extensively, but non-covered is a crown on a preventative only plan. There is absolutely no crown coverage. It will never, ever be paid for by this plan, no matter what. Non-payable means it is a covered service, but it's not payable in this case due to some contractual limitation, which could be things like a least expensive alternative clause, or an age limitation, a frequency limitation, a waiting period, any reason that it would be non-payable. So where a lot of people get kind of messed up, I'll use this as the perfect example, is fluoride. D1206, D1208. 1206 is fluoride varnish. 1208 is all other fluoride delivery types, whether it's gel or foam or anything that's not varnish. 1206 is varnish. 1208 is all other fluoride delivery. People will say, oh, this patient is 52 years old. They got fluoride. Fluoride is only covered up to age 16. this is not covered. No, it is covered. Fluoride is a covered service up to age 16. It is not payable because of an age limitation on the plan. So in that case, the patient wouldn't pay your full fee for that fluoride. They're going to pay the insurance allowed fee because it is a covered service that is not payable due to a contractual limitation. Frequency limitations are the same thing. Waiting periods, missing tooth clauses, same thing. They are contractual limitations. And the majority of the time in most states, if it is a covered service not payable, the patient pays your allowed in-network fee. So very important to understand, but when I know that, it helps me get my claims under control because I'm not constantly fighting. I don't have to call and say, hey, you messed up this EOB because it says the patient only owes $20, not the $35 that I charge for fluoride. Yes, that's correct. It's a covered service, not payable. Close the claim, charge the patient $20. That's the way it works. Knowing the out-of-network assignment of benefits rules, we have all seen an increase in the number of insurance companies that do not allow assignment of benefits when you are out-of-network provider. The vast majority of Delta Dentals do it. Many of the Blue Cross Blue Shields are starting to do it. Some started last year, more have done it this year. So if I'm an out-of-network provider and I know that patient has Delta Dental of Pennsylvania who does not allow assignment of benefits for an out-of-network provider, guess what? That patient pays for their service in full at the time of service. I submit the claim. I uncheck the assignment of benefits box because I know they're not going to pay me anyway. I submit the claim and I immediately close it because at that point, it is no longer my job to chase that money. That money is not my money. The patient has already paid. It is their money. It's their job to chase that money if they don't get the check. And I am more than happy to help them by providing them copies of claim forms, by providing them copies of x-rays, perio charting, whatever it is they need. I will even print out that letter from the clearinghouse confirming that that claim was sent electronically. Here's the claim number, here's the confirmation, here's the date, and the moment it was accepted by that insurance company's computer system. I will happily provide all of that, but I am not calling on that outstanding claim. I am not chasing that money because it is not my money to chase anymore. So submit the claim. If it's an out-of-network insurance company that does not allow assignment of benefits for out-of-network providers, submit it and immediately close it because it is not my job to chase that money. And then understanding the difference between denied and rejected. Hopefully we all know that. Denied is it's being denied because of a clause. It's being denied because there's a missing tooth clause that makes it not payable, or it's rejected, which means the provider examiner, the clinical examiner at the insurance company is saying it's not medically necessary. I am going to fight every single one of them as long as I have evidence that it is, up to and including requesting a peer-to-peer. So I want to understand the difference because I see so many people, I get so many Facebook messages every day from people who say, we just got a letter from a denial from Delta saying that, you know, there's a 12-month waiting period for this and the patient's had the plan for 3 months. Can we appeal that? No, you can't. There is no appeal for that. The patient agreed to the 12-month wait on major work when they got the plan. They got a crown 3 months in. The patient owes the allowed fee. Close the claim and move on. You know, I am all for fighting the insurance companies, getting the insurance companies to pay every penny they should. but I'm also all for making sure the patients are paying every penny that they should. I think everybody should be paying exactly what they owe. And if those patients agreed to those waiting periods, those missing tooth clauses, those downgrades, those limitations, when they sign the contract, that is totally on them. They owe me the money. So we already talked about this. See, I get ahead of myself, but know if the plan allows. If not, collect in full from the patient. I don't track those claims. If I'm out of network and the insurance company doesn't allow assignment of benefits, immediately close the claim after I submit it. I'm happy to submit it as a courtesy because I'm out of network. I am not going to chase that money. And remember, insurance companies do this just to make our life difficult and try to force the patients to go in network because it's so much easier for them to deal with an in-network provider where they don't have to pay up front. But as a dental office, I want to get paid for what I'm doing. And I am not going to trust somebody to bring me in a check from an insurance company because half of the time they just throw them out anyway. They don't even open their EOBs. I'm not going to trust them with a check. They're just going to throw it out. The next thing, and then I'm going to answer all these questions we have here. Be accountable. Hold yourself accountable. Remember, I said the only thing that you can control is the number of calls you make. So have a goal in mind, whatever it may be. My team here, each one of my billing specialists is assigned, 3, 4, 5 clients. Their goal is a very specific production-based goal. But what most of them want is to have their outstanding claims report be 1 page. People will come to me and walk in my office with 1 piece of paper, smiling from ear to ear. Hey, I just want to let you know, this is client number 17's outstanding claim report. It's 1 page. Well, yeah, they've been with us for 2 months. When we started, it was 52 pages. Now it's 1. No, that's fantastic. That's their goal. Their goal is to get it down to 1 page. My goal is a very specific production calculation, but have a goal. Remember to make your calls, follow up on them, use the follow-up dates. That is super important. And have someone hold you accountable. I spend the majority of my time when I'm in the office and not traveling, speaking or doing client visits. The majority of my time in the office is spent setting goals for people, teaching them how to reach that goal, and then holding them accountable to achieving the goal. So make sure you have someone, whether it's an accountability coach, whether it's somebody that is in, ADOM with you, or an office manager that you're friends with across the town, or whoever it may be, someone that you can talk to and say, I did this, I did that. This is what I achieved. This is where it's at. Oh, well, my outstanding claims went up this month. Have that accountability coach to say why. Why did it go up? What can we change to make sure that doesn't happen again? Have somebody to hold you accountable. Post in the group, give a goal, let us know what it is. We'll help you hit it. Absolutely, that is what we're there for. So I'm going to leave this up while I answer these questions. That QR code on the screen, just so everybody knows, that takes you directly to my contact information. So all of my web links, the website, if you're not a member of the Dental Billing Coding and Insurance Academy Facebook group, there's a link to the Facebook group on that QR code, my email address, my phone number, our website, our Calendly link, if you want to schedule a discovery call to talk about the services that we offer, that we can help you with your insurance. All of that is on that QR code. So please feel free scan the QR code, save it as a contact on your phone. Don't ever hesitate to reach out. So I'm going to leave that up on the screen just so everybody who wants it can get to it while I go through these questions we have here. First question, any input regarding submitting additional documents through an insurance's portal? Are those effective? Do they tend to process corrections, additional information faster than resending through the clearinghouse? I hate to give this answer, but it depends. Delta's portal is awesome. Availity, I hate. I hate Availity. Delta's portal works great, but for us, we use, like I said, we use Vine Trellis, used to be Remote Light. If we submit a claim for a basic service on Monday, Wednesday morning, that EFT, if the office is paid by EFT, Wednesday morning, that money is in the patient's or in the office's account. So, I'm happy to do it through my clearinghouse. But again, that's just because I get a confirmation every time I do something so I can prove it. You don't usually get those on the web portals. You might get a confirmation, but you're going to screenshot it and who's it for and what's it that. And I just much rather have it direct through my clearinghouse. But, again, it depends. Delta's works great. Things get done quickly. Pre-Ds, which I hate pre-Ds. I know Teresa Duncan and I have a constant back and forth about predeterminations. I hate them. She doesn't. It is what it is. We're still friends. Through the Delta portal, you can get a response to those very quickly, much quicker than doing it through the clearinghouse. But I want to have proof that I submitted it. And that's why I do it through the clearinghouse. Next question, when you say enter your EOBs, you mean post the payments to the ledger? That's exactly what I mean. Enter the payments. Get your payments entered in your system as quickly as possible. We have a rule here. If a client sends us their scanned EOBs and checks for the day before 12 noon, they're entered that day. If they send it to us after 12 noon, we really, really make every possible effort to get it done the same day. But there may be the occasional time, we close at 6:30 and somebody emails over 57 pages of payments at 6:22. It's going to get done the next day. But 99.9% of the time, I want those EOBs, those insurance payments entered into the ledger, claims closed the day we receive the check. Next patient. This is a good one. I've heard this for years and years. We have a patient with Delta of Illinois in network where they take 536 days to pay on claims. We have been told by them if we resend the claim starts over. That's correct. They are absolutely correct. It is legal, unfortunately. The state of Illinois is operating without an approved budget approved by the government, the governor, the state senate, and they are allowed to take 536 days. They will pay you interest per the state law for the delay. It is unacceptable. It is unreasonable, but it is legal. And if you are in network, you are not allowed to have the patient pay up front and submit the claims on their own. If you're out of network, that's absolutely what I would do. But if I'm in network with Delta and I'm in Illinois or have a Delta of Illinois patient, I know it's going to take me a year and a half to get paid. It's just one of those things. As an in-network provider, we have to suck up. They are going to pay the interest on that past due claim. So, it may be a $60 claim and they're going to pay $15 or $20 in interest on it. I'll take it. It's honestly a better return on my money than I'm getting in a savings account. So I'm absolutely going to take the interest payment. It's not acceptable. It's not okay. But unfortunately, the state of Illinois, who is funding a lot of that, doesn't have an approved governmental budget. It has been this way for years. It's been years and years that Delta of Illinois has been taking this long to pay. And, there are banks that have made significant profits on financing these past due claims for dentists in Illinois with hundreds or thousands of Delta of Illinois patients that would have been shut down by now if it wasn't for those loans. So I absolutely believe you. I agree with you. It is unacceptable. However, it is legal. Excuse me. And if you're in network, the patient cannot be asked to pay up front and submit the claim on their own. Next question from Brandy. When you verify insurance, told they were active and then proceeded only to have the claim denied due to no coverage at time of service. That is one of those unavoidable circumstances, especially now in the age of more retroactive terminations. It's just one of those things. Sometimes I'm able, if I have a reference number and I spoke with a rep, I'm able to get it overturned. But, they also have that little clause when you log into the web portal or when you're on hold, when you're speaking to a rep that says any information provided is an estimate and not a guarantee of benefits. So it does happen. Retroactive terminations happen. You could see somebody verified as active coverage January 2nd, February 2nd, March 2nd, April 2nd, and then guess what? May 1st, they're inactive, but not only inactive May 1st, they're inactive back to January 1. So all the money that insurance company has paid you for that patient since January 1, they're going to send you a refund request for. It absolutely happens. It is unavoidable. I'm going to have all my documentation. I'm going to make the fight, but I'm going to know that 10% of the time or less, I'm going to get it overturned. Next question. Is there any way to tell which plans are self-funded versus fully funded? Or is it only available through a call with the rep? The majority of them are only available from the rep, and even a lot of reps won't know. Some insurance companies, the way you can tell, look at the card. If it says plan from Delta Dental, you're good. If it says administered by Delta Dental, that is a self-funded plan. The other thing, and we all do this in our systems, build a database, whether it's in your system, it's a spreadsheet, it's in your head, of the plans that are self-funded. I will tell you today, as of 2023, the majority of employer plans are self-funded. My plan, we have our dental insurance for all of my team members through Principal. Our plan is a self-funded plan. The majority of plans today are. So build the database, know who it is. What I can tell you is larger companies, 200, 300, 400, 500 employees, hospital groups, medical groups, in Pennsylvania, we have Tower Health, all the different medical groups, they are all self-funded plans. So build the database. You might have to call once, but once you know, okay, Microsoft is self-funded, you never have to call for a Microsoft plan again. Next question. Who do you contact in your state to learn what the insurance laws are? I would first go to the state dental association. Then I would go to the state insurance commission. And again, finally, I'm going to remember that self-funded plans, your state law doesn't matter to them. So then you have to know if the plans are self-funded or fully funded. But Cheryl, if you want to shoot me an email and ask me specific state questions, please feel free to do so, or Facebook message me, whatever you like. Ask in the group. I'll certainly point you in the right direction to the right links to help you out. Next question. Tracing EFT payments for insurance companies you never signed up for. I have a claim that is outstanding from January 2023. Entire family has been in the office. The insurance is paid via paper check, but they're stating this one claim was paid EFT. Have no deposit. Since we don't accept Zealous EFT, I can't locate the payment. Tried to trace it through our clearinghouse, but they have no record of payment. How do you trace this? Honestly, it is not your problem to trace, but what I would do is call the insurance company, tell them we never received it. We need trace it details so that our bank can try and trace it. Being out of network is going to make that a little more difficult, but not impossible. And this is one of those cases of, remember, the squeaky wheel. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So write-offs. If it's a self-funded plan that makes you write off the difference between UCR and the contract rate, if it's a non-covered code, yes, that is what it is, because those self-funded plans are exempt from your state laws. For workers' comp companies we are not in network with, do we have to take a write-off? In the vast majority of states, you are not allowed to balance bill workers' comp claims, whether you are in network or not. If you accept assignment of benefits, you must accept what the workers' comp company pays as payment in full, and you cannot balance bill the patient. I don't take workers' comp claims. I have the patient pay me in full. They submit it to workers' comp for reimbursement because they will reimburse the patient if the patient paid me in full. They will reimburse me a ridiculously low rate, lower than the Medicaid rate. Next question, in New Jersey, how long do I have to file claims? It varies by insurance company. Most insurance companies, it's 12 months is timely filing. There are some, Delta specifically in 2023 went to 6 months. So Delta in January 1st, 2023 now has a 6-month timely filing limit. Some of the other smaller companies, Lincoln Financial is a 6-month timely filing limit. GIHA for federal plans is 90 days. So, it varies. There isn't a state law on it. It is up to the insurance companies, and they pick what their timely filing limit is. The 1099-C, I'm not going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to do a Facebook Live on that Friday morning. Just to confirm, we're recommending we bill patients for things insurance don't cover, such as fluoride and bite wings. I absolutely, I'm recommending you bill patients for anything that you do. The only exception to that is if insurance denies it and I'm in network, they reject it and say it's not medically necessary, then there are many cases where you cannot bill the patient. So you have to pay attention to that, know the difference. But if I submit for fluoride, insurance doesn't pay it, the patient owes. If it's a covered service that's not payable or a non-covered service, the patient owes. If it's rejected by the insurance company because of medical necessity, then likely the patient doesn't owe if I'm in network. But if I'm doing something, I'm getting paid for it. Any advice on the specific clearinghouse? As I said, for all of our insurance billing, remote billing clients, we use Vine Trellis. It is the one we use for hundreds and hundreds of offices across the country. I've been using Remote Light for years. Vine is just like Remote Light, some improvements and upgrades. But other than that, that is the one I use. If a patient has dual insurance, primary's out, secondary's in, patient pays in full, then deal with insurance. No. In that scenario, here is what I do. I collect what I anticipate. So let me read the question again real quick. If a patient has dual insurance, primary is out of network and secondary is in network, should the patient pay in full and then deal with insurance themselves, or submit and wait for payment from the primary, then submit to secondary? I will always submit to 2 insurances, because next Wednesday night, I'm doing another webinar that is managing patients with multiple insurance plans. And we're going to talk about this, but I will always submit to both plans, because when I do, if they allow assignment of benefits when they're out of network, I can collect up to my full office UCR without doing any adjustment, even if I'm in network. So specific rules and ways that you do that, but that's something we're going to talk about next Wednesday on that webinar. Next question. What do you do with claims that require attachments but don't accept electronic attachments, or they don't accept attachments through Vine? In those scenarios, I will print them out and mail them certified, return receipt, signature required. 100%. What do you recommend for out-of-network insurances that don't accept UCR fee but won't give out their allowed fee? I'm out of network. I tell the patient, you're going to owe my full fee. Anything insurance pays is a bonus, but you're going to owe my full fee. All right. Next question. If we're in network with primary and secondary, primary pays full amount, are you still required to submit to secondary? Yes. If you're in network, you submit everything you should, every single thing you do. There's a number of reasons. We've talked about it 100 times. Make sure they have history, make sure their records are up to date. Plus, I can collect up to my full office fee without doing any network. So even if or even any adjustment. So even if the primary paid 100% of their allowed fee, I'm still going to submit to the secondary because I can collect up to my full office fee and not do any adjustment for those patients. But we're going to talk about that next week on the Wednesday webinar, managing patients with multiple insurance plans. Next question. Excuse me. How do you split up your claim follow-up? Specific way, by insurance, by aging bucket? I start at 90 days and work my way down because I want to pay attention to those timely filing limits. And there are some insurance companies that have them at 90 days. So I'm going to start working on my over 90 claims first, get those all called on, go down and literally work my way down, over 90, 89 to 60, 59 to 30. And that's where I'm going to just work backwards from oldest to newest. That is absolutely the way I do it. Now, within that, if I know over 90 days, I have 17 claims for Delta of Tennessee, I'm going to call Delta and I'm going to keep that rep on the phone asking over and over for as long as they will talk to me, as many patients as they will answer. And then if they say, I'm sorry, I can only answer for 5 patients, and I say, great, put me back in the queue. When you say 1-page goal, do you mean insurance claims AR or overall patients AR as well? My team here only works on insurance. We don't do patient. I let Andy Grover Cleveland handle patient collections, but we only do insurance stuff. But when I say 1 page, I mean that outstanding insurance claims report is 1 page. There should be maybe 6 or 7 claims outstanding over 30 days. And those 6 or 7 are only because they're secondaries that I'm still waiting to come in. So 1 page of outstanding insurance claims. Do you think there should be a standard patient insurance benefit form we should receive, just like we have an ADA form to submit claims? I do. I don't think it's ever going to happen. Texas tried to do it a couple years ago. It got rejected. Didn't even make it through the state house. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. For fully funded plans, how far back can an insurance company recover? It depends on your state. I am gonna put in the chat a link to our resources page on our website. On that resources page, there is a document called Give It Back. And that lists all of the states' time limits for how long a fully funded plan has to recover an overpayment. How do I get signed up for next Wednesday's webinar? Everybody who registered will get an email tomorrow that will have the link to the recording. It will also have a link to register for next week's seminars and my speaking schedule for the next couple months. If an adult patient has ortho coverage on their plan, but it only covers to age 19, do we still have to submit a claim? You do. This goes back to, is it a covered service not payable, or is it a non-covered? An adult patient with ortho up to age 19, ortho is a covered service not payable. So you still have to submit a claim, and in most states, you're still going to have to accept the adjustment. You're going to accept the allowed fee because it's an age limitation. Ortho is covered. You said it right in your question. Patient has ortho coverage. It's just subject to an age limitation, which means the patient pays the allowed fee. What is the highest amount of money you have seen collected back from an insurance company through an audit? Totally different topic, but the biggest amount I've ever seen was just over $700,000. Our office offers full-time employee dental benefits, so they don't have to pay for dental insurance. If an employee's spouse still have dental insurance, would you submit a $0 claim for the services we complete? If you're doing those services for free, I absolutely would. If you are offering your employees free dental care, then I'm going to submit a claim for their insurance at a $0 fee. If they're having a crown done and the rule is the employee pays the lab fee is $200. I'm going to submit the claim for that $2,740 or $2,752, whichever crown I'm doing. I'm going to submit that claim for $200. That's the amount I intend to collect. An uninsured employee will pay the $200 lab fee. An insured employee will pay $100 and their insurance will pay $100. So the office is still collecting the $200. But absolutely, I'll still, if I'm in network and an employee who's covered under my employee free dental treatment plan has insurance that I'm in network with, I'm submitting a $0 claim. And last one. Can you give us the name again for who you advise for patient collections? Andy Grover Cleveland. He is the guy. If you are in the Dental Billing Coding and Insurance Academy Facebook group, he is in the group. He's active in the group. Just search for Andy Grover Cleveland, 3 words, and you will find him. So that is it. We did run a little late, but that always happens because I talk way too much. Everybody have a fantastic evening. Thank you for being here. Watch for that email tomorrow, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the Drive Live.